Imagine this. It's a cold, misty night, and you're alone in your house. The wind howls outside, rattling the windows. Suddenly, your phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. The message is short, chilling. Sherlock Holmes is dead. Find his killer, or you're next. Your heart races. You check the doors. They're locked. But then, a floorboard creaks upstairs. Someone's in your house. The lights flicker, and a shadow moves in the corner of your eye. Who sent that text? Why mention Sherlock Holmes, a detective who's just a story? Or is he? That's the mystery we're diving into today in Jessica Fletcher, The Murder of Sherlock Holmes. This isn't just a puzzle, it's a dangerous game, and it's going to grab you and not let go. Ready to find out who's behind it? Let's jump in. The fog is thick in Cabot Cove, Maine, wrapping the quiet town in a creepy haze. Jessica Fletcher, our favorite mystery writer and sharp aesthetic sleuth, is at home sipping tea in her cozy study. Ow! The clock ticks softly, but then, knock, knock. A strange envelope slides under her door, sealed with red wax and stamped with a bold H. Her hands shake a little as she opens it. Inside, a note in spiky handwriting says, "The game is on, Mrs. Fletcher. Sherlock Holmes is dead. Only you can catch his killer." No signature, no address, just a faint whiff of pipe smoke clinging to the paper. Jessica's stomach twists. This feels personal, like someone's watching her. Wire. And how can a fictional detective like Sherlock Holmes be dead? Jessica paces her study, her mind racing. She's solved plenty of mysteries in Cabot Cove murders. Seem to pop up here like daisies, but this one's weird. Sherlock Holmes isn't real, right? Yet she remembers a creepy story from a writer's conference. A secret club that believes Sherlock was more than just a character. Could they be behind this? The note's paper feels old, and Jessica spots tiny marks on its faint chess pieces, like a knight and a queen, hidden in the texture. A clue. Her gut says this is big, maybe dangerous. She needs to start somewhere, and the note points her to a place. 2-1 B Baker Street. Not the real one in London, but a fake version built in. Maine for a Sherlock Holmes fan convention happening tomorrow. Grabbing her coat, Jessica heads out into the foggy night. The replica 221B is across town, and when she gets there, it's dead quiet. The convention hasn't started, but the front doors open just a crack. Her heart thumps as she steps inside. The place looks exactly like Sherlock's study from the stories, a violin on the table, a deerstalker hat hanging on the wall, but then she sees it a dark sticky patch on the rug. She kneels down, her fingers brushing it. Kind of all chitty calla, kind of a caught try it. A walt apomatig, right all marn, a wet-eyed digad. I'm This isn't a game anymore. Someone was hurt here, maybe killed. Jessica's breath catches. Is this really about Sherlock, or is something darker going on? Then her eyes catch something else, a black chess piece, a queen, half hidden behind a pipe on the fireplace. It's heavy, carved from dark wood, with JM scratched into it. Jessica's mind spins. JM, James Moriarty, or something else. She slips the piece into her pocket, her hands steady but her pulse racing. The air feels wrong, like the room's holding a secret. Then, a noiseless soft thump from upstairs. Someone's here. Jessica grips her flashlight, her courage kicking in. She's not backing down. Whatever's waiting at the top of those stairs, she's ready to face it. This mystery is just starting, and Jessica Fletcher is all in. That's chapter 1. Folks, leaving Jessica on the edge of danger with a clue in her pocket and a shadow lurking above. What's the chess piece hiding? Who sent that note? And how? Is Sherlock Holmes dead? Stick around for chapter 2, where things get even wilder. If this hooked you, and I know it did, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss what's next. Drop a comment. Who do you think is behind this? Let's crack this case together. Jessica Fletcher stands at the foot of the creaky staircase in the replica of 2-1 B Baker Street. her flashlight casting a narrow beam into the darkness above. The air is heavy, thick with the musty scent of old wood, and something sharper maybe. Fear. That thump from upstairs still echoes in her mind. A warning that she's not alone. Her heart beats faster, but Jessica's no stranger to danger. She's solved murders in Cabot Cove that would make most people lock their doors and hide. This, though? This feels different, like she's stepped into one of her own novels, where the lines between fiction and reality are blurring, with the black chess piece marked JM tucked in her pocket, and the mystery of Sherlock Holmes' death pulling her forward. She takes a deep breath and starts climbing the stairs. Each step groans under her weight, loud in the silent house. The fog outside presses against the windows like it's trying to get in. Welcome back to Jessica Fletcher, the murder of Sherlock Holmes. Out, where the clues are piling up and the danger's just beginning. Let's see what's waiting for Jessica at the top. The staircase feels endless, each step pulling Jessica deeper into the unknown. Her flashlight sweeps across faded wallpaper, peeling in places, in a dusty portrait of a stern-looking man maybe. Conan Doyle himself, watching her from the wall. She's halfway up when she hears it again. A soft shuffle, like someone trying not to be heard. Her grip tightens on the flashlight, ready to use it as a weapon if she has to. Jessica's mind races, piecing together what she knows. The note, with its chess piece watermarks and cryptic message about Sherlock's death. The blood on the rug downstairs, still wet. The chess piece in her pocket, heavy with secrets. JM could be James Moriarty, Sherlock's greatest enemy. But Moriarty's just a character, isn't he? Or maybe it's someone else entirely, someone real, playing a deadly game. Jessica reaches the landing, her breath shallow. The upstairs hallway stretches out, lined with closed doors. One of them is slightly open, a sliver of dim light spilling out. That's where the noise came from. She moves toward it, her shoes silent on the worn carpet, every nerve on edge, pushing the door open. Jessica steps into a small room, set up like an old-fashioned study. There's a desk, cluttered with papers, an oil lamp flickering weakly, and shelves stuffed with leather-bound books. The air smells of ink and dust, but there's something else of faint metallic temps. Her eyes scan the room, landing on a crumpled scarf in the corner. It's embroidered with the same SH as the wax seal on the note. Her stomach twists. This is no coincidence. She kneels to pick up the scarf, and that's when she sees it. A small, ornate box under the desk, half hidden by a stack of papers. It's carved with chessboard patterns, and the lid is engraved with a single word, checkmate. Jessica's pulse quickens. This box is important. She can feel it. She reaches for it, but her fingers freeze when she hears a low, deliberate creak behind her. Someone's in the room. She spins around, flashlight raised, but the doorway's empty. The lamp flickers, casting wild shadows on the walls. Was it her imagination, or is someone watching, waiting for her next move? Jessica steadies herself and opens the box. Inside, she finds a single sheet of paper, yellowed with age, and a small vial of dark liquid. The paper is a handwritten letter, dated 1891, the year Sherlock Holmes supposedly died at Reichenbach Falls in Conan Doyle's stories. The letter reads, "To the one who follows, the truth of Sherlock Holmes is not what it seems. His death was no fiction but a necessity. Seek the Diogenes Club, but beware the shadow that guards it." It's signed with a flourish. M. Jessica's mind spins. The Diogenes Club. That's the fictional gentleman's club where Sherlock's brother, Mycroft, spent his days. But this letter feels real, the ink smudged as if written in a hurry, and the vial. She holds it to the light, definitely blood. But whose? She slips both items into her bag, knowing they're clues she can't ignore. The mention of the Diogenes Club nags at her. There's a local historical society in Cabot Cove called the Diogenes League, a group of Sherlock enthusiasts. Could they be connected? She needs to find out. But first, she has to get out of this house. As Jessica turns to leave, the lamp goes out, plunging the room into darkness. Her flashlight flickers, then steadies, but the air feels colder now, like someone opened a window. She hears it again, a soft, deliberate step. Closer this time. "Who's there?" she calls, her voice steady, despite the chill running down her spine. No answer, but the floor creaks again, just outside the door. Jessica moves fast, slipping into the hallway, her flashlight sweeping the shadows. At the end of the hall, she catches a glimpse of movement, a figure in a long coat, vanishing around a corner. Her heart pounds, but she's not letting them get away. She follows her footsteps, quick but cautious, down another staircase to the back of the house. The back door is wide open, swinging in the wind, and the fog outside swallows everything. Whoever was here is gone for now. But they left something behind, a single cigarette butt, still smoldering, with a faint gold band around it. Jessica picks it up carefully, wrapping it in her handkerchief. Another clue, and this one feels personal, like a taunt standing in the foggy backyard. Jessica takes a moment to think. The letter, the vial, the cigarette butt, the chess piece, they're all pieces of a puzzle, but the picture's still blurry. The Diogenes League is her next stop, but she knows it won't be easy. Whoever's behind this knows she's here, and they're watching her every move. Jessica's no fool, she's dealt with killers before, but this feels bigger, like a game designed to test her. She heads back to her car, the fog curling around her like a living thing. As she drives away, she glances in her rearview mirror and swears she sees a shadow move in the mist. Someone's out there, and they're not done with her yet. That's chapter 2. Leaving Jessica with more questions than answers and a trail of clues leading her deeper into danger. Who wrote that letter? What's the Diogenes League hiding? And who is that figure in the coat? We're just getting started, and the suspense is only building. Stick with us for chapter 3, where Jessica digs into the Diogenes League and uncovers a secret that changes everything. If you're loving this mystery, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss a single twist. Comment below. What do you think the letter means? Who's following Jessica? It's keep unraveling this together. The fog hasn't lifted in Cabot Cove, and neither has the chill in Jessica Fletcher's bones as she drives through the quiet streets, her mind buzzing with clues. The letter from 1891, the vial of blood, the cigarette butt with its gold band, and that eerie chess piece marked JMR, all tucked safely in her bag. But they're weighing on her more than she'd like to admit. She's heading to the Diogenes League, a local group of Sherlock Holmes fanatics who meet in an old mansion on the edge of town. The letter she found mentioned the Diogenes Club, fictional place from the Holmes stories, but this real-life league feels like the next piece of the puzzle. Whoever's behind this mystery, someone who claims Sherlock Holmes is dead, knows Jessica's on their trail. And after that shadowy figure slipped away in the fog last night, she's sure they're watching her. Welcome back to Jessica Fletcher, the murder of Sherlock Holmes, where every step pulls us deeper into a web of secrets. Buckle up, because this chapter's going to twist your mind and keep you glued to the screen. Let's dive in. Jessica pulls up to the Diogenes League's headquarters, a looming Victorian mansion that looks like it hasn't been touched since the 1800s. Its windows are dark, the ivy climbing the walls like it's trying to choke the place. The sign out front reads, Diogenes League, a society for the study of Sherlockiana. But there's something off about it, like it's hiding more than it reveals. Jessica checks her watch. It's early morning, but the League's meetings are known to start at odd hours. She grabs her bag, feeling the weight of the clues inside, and steps out into the mist. The air feels heavy, like it's holding its breath, and Jessica can't shake the feeling she's being watched. As she approaches the front door, she notices a small brass plaque engraved with a chessboard pattern, another nod to the clues piling up. Her fingers brush the cold metal knocker, but before she can knock, the door creaks open on its own. No one's there. Her heart skips a beat, but Jessica Fletcher doesn't scare easily. She steps inside, ready to face whatever this place is. Hiding. The mansion's foyer is grand but eerie. High ceilings and a chandelier that sways slightly even though there's no breeze. A faint hum of voices comes from down the hall, and Jessica follows it, her shoes clicking on the polished wood floor. She passes walls lined with portraits of Sherlock Holmes, some in his deerstalker, others in more mysterious poses, his sharp eyes seeming to follow her. The voices grow louder, and she reaches a heavy oak door, slightly ajar. Peering through the crack, she sees a group of people seated around a long table, their faces half lit by candlelight. They're dressed oddly, some in modern clothes, so others in Victorian capes and top hats, like they've stepped out of a Holmes story. One man, tall and thin with a hawkish nose, is speaking in a low, urgent tone. The truth must stay buried, he says. If she gets too close, we're all at risk. Jessica's breath catches. Are they talking about her? She leans closer, trying to hear more, when a floorboard creaks under her foot. The room goes silent, and every head turns toward the door. Jessica steps back, her pulse racing. But it's too late. The door swings open, and the tall man stands there, his eyes narrowing. "Mrs. Fletcher," he says, his voice smooth but cold. "We've been expecting you." Her mind races. How do they know her name? She forces a smile. Years of solving mysteries teaching her to stay calm under pressure. "I'm here about Sherlock Holmes," she says, keeping her tone light. "Received a curious letter." The man's expression doesn't change, but a woman at the table, a sharp-eyed brunette in a velvet jacket, stands up. "You're meddling in things you don't understand," she says, her voice sharp. "Some secrets are better left alone." Jessica holds her ground, her hand brushing the chess piece in her pocket.
Ow.
"When someone mentions murder, I don't." "Walk away," she replies. The room tenses, and for a moment, it feels like anything could happen. Then the tall man gestures to an empty chair. "Sit," he says. "You want answers? You'll get them. But you may not like what you hear." Jessica sits, her eyes scanning the group. There are 7 people, each with an air of secrecy that makes her skin prickle. The tall man introduces himself as Dr. Elias Grayson, the League's president. He claims they're just a group of Sherlock enthusiasts, but Jessica's not buying it. She pulls out the letter from 1891 and sets it on the table. "This mentions the Diogenes Club," she says. "And Sherlock's death? Care to explain?" The group exchanges glances, and the brunette, introduced as Clara, leans forward. "That letter's a relic," she says. "A piece of our history. The Diogenes League isn't just a fan club. We protect certain truths about Sherlock Holmes." Jessica's mind spins. Truths? Like what? That he was real? She presses them, mentioning the blood on the rug, the chess piece, the vial. Grayson's face tightens, and he says, "You've been to 2-1B. You're deeper in this than we thought." Clara takes over, her voice low and intense. She explains that the League was founded over a century ago by people who believed Sherlock Holmes was more than fixing a real detective whose exploits were hidden by Conan Doyle to protect his identity. The letter, she says, is from one of their founders, a man known only as M, the vial of blood, symbol of a pact, though she won't say more. Jessica's skeptical, but the details line up too well to dismiss. She asks about JM on the chess piece, and the room goes quiet again. Grayson finally speaks. "James Moriarty," he says. "It's not the professor from the stories, a real person and a dangerous one. If you're holding his chess piece, you're already on his radar." Jessica's stomach drops. Moriarty. Real. Before she can ask more, a loud crash echoes from upstairs, followed by the sound of breaking glass. Everyone freezes. Grayson barks orders, and 2 members rush upstairs. Jessica follows, ignoring Clara's shout to stay put. The upstairs hallway is dark, but a cold draft leads them to a shattered window. Glass litters the floor, and outside, the fog swirls like a living thing. On the windowsill, Jessica spots another clue, a gold-banded cigarette butt, identical to the one she found last night. Her heart pounds. This is no coincidence. Whoever was at 2-1B is here, too, and they're leaving a trail. The League members are rattled, whispering about Moriarty's shadow. Jessica's mind races. Is this a warning? A trap? She turns to Grayson, demanding answers, but he's cagey. "You've seen too much," he says. "Leave now, or you'll regret it." But Jessica is not backing down. She slips the cigarette butt into her pocket and heads for the door, promising to return. As she steps outside, the fog closes in, and she hears a faint whisper her name, carried on the wind. That's chapter 3, and the mystery's getting thicker than the Cabot Cove fog. Jessica's uncovered a secret society, a letter from the past, and a name that chills her to the bone. Moriarty. Who's following her? What's the Diogenes League hiding? Is Sherlock Holmes really more than a story? Chapter 4 is coming, and it's going to blow your mind with a twist you won't see coming. If you're hooked, and I know you are, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss a second of this. Comment below. Do you think the League is telling the truth, or are they part of the plot? Drop your theories, and let's keep this mystery rolling. Jessica Fletcher hurries through the fog-drenched streets of Cabot Cove, her heart still racing from the encounter at the Diogenes League. The whisper of her name on the wind lingers in her ears, a chilling reminder that someone or something is watching her every move. In her bag, the clues are piling up. The cryptic letter from 1891, the vial of blood, the chess piece marked JM. And now 2 gold-banded cigarette butts, one from the replica of 2-1B Baker Street, and another from the shattered window at the League's mansion. The mention of James Moriarty, a name she thought belonged to fiction, has shaken her. But Jessica's not one to back down. She's solved murders that baffled sheriffs and detectives, and this mystery, with its blend of fact and fiction, is pulling her in deeper. Welcome back to Jessica Fletcher, the murder of Sherlock Holmes, where the stakes are climbing and the shadows are closing in. With only 6 chapters left to unravel this puzzle, every moment counts. Let's follow Jessica as she chases the next clue and, maybe, a killer. Ready? Here we go. Jessica heads back to her cozy home, the familiar creak of her front door doing little to calm her nerves. She locks it behind her, double-checking the bolt, and spreads her clues across her kitchen table. The letter from 1891, with its talk of the Diogenes Club and Sherlock's necessary death, feels heavier now. The vial of blood glints under her lamp, its dark contents unsettling. The chess piece, carved with JM, seems to stare back at her, and the 2 cigarette butts sit side by side, their gold bands catching the light. She's sure they're a signature, a taunt from whoever's behind this. The Diogenes League's cryptic warnings about Moriarty being real and dangerous echo in her mind. Could there really be a modern-day Moriarty orchestrating this? Jessica's gut says yes, but she needs proof. She starts with the cigarette. Butts examining them closely. The gold band has a tiny emblem, a coiled snake, barely visible. It's a clue, and she's betting it's tied to the person who's been one step ahead of her. Determined to trace the cigarette, Jessica calls her old friend Sheriff Amos Tupper, who's retired but still has contacts in town. Amos, she says, keeping her voice steady, ever hear of a cigarette with a gold band and a snake emblem? Amos chuckles, thinking it's research for one of her novels, but when she presses, he promises to ask around. While she waits, Jessica turns to the letter. The mention of the Diogenes Club and the League's claim that it's tied to a real Sherlock Holmes nags at her. She digs through her bookshelf, pulling out her worn copy of The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Flipping to a story about the Diogenes Club, she reads about Mycroft Holmes, Sherlock's brother, who used the club as a front for government secrets. Could the Diogenes League be a modern version, hiding something bigger? Her thoughts are interrupted by a sharp knock at the door. It's late, and the fog outside is thicker than ever. Her hand hesitates on the knob. "Who's there?" she calls. No answer, just another knock. Slower this time. Jessica grabs a heavy flashlight, not just for light, and opens the door a crack. A package sits on her doorstep, wrapped in brown paper, no address, just her name scrawled in spiky handwriting. Her stomach twists. It's the same handwriting as the first note. She brings it inside, locking the door again, and carefully unwraps it. Inside is a small leather-bound journal, its pages yellowed and edges frayed. The cover has the same chessboard pattern as the box she found at 2-1B. Her fingers tremble as she opens it. The first page reads, "The League guards the truth, but the truth guards the shadow. Find the snake, and you find Moriarty." The rest of the journal is filled with coded entries, numbers, symbols, and fragmented sentences that make no sense at first glance. Tucked between the pages is a single photograph, faded but clear, A group of men in Victorian suits, standing outside a building labeled Diogenes Club, London, 1891. One man, tall and gaunt with piercing eyes, has a cigarette in his hand, a gold band glinting on it. Jessica's breath catches. This is no coincidence. Her phone rings, startling her. It's Amos, his voice tense. Jess, those cigarettes? They're custom-made, rare as hen's teeth. Only one place in Maine sells Emma Tobacco Shop in Portland called Serpent's Smoke. Owner's a guy named Jasper Monroe. Jessica's heart skips. Jasper Monroe, JM. Could he be the Moriarty the League warned her about? She thanks Amos and grabs her coat, knowing she needs to get to Portland. But before she leaves, she flips through the journal again, noticing a recurring symbol, a coiled snake, just like the one on the cigarette band. The journal mentions a meeting place, the Serpent's Lair, where the shadow waits. It's vague, but Jessica's betting it's tied to the tobacco shop. She slips the journal into her bag, along with her other clues, and heads out, the fog swallowing her car as she drives toward Portland. The roads are empty, but she can't shake the feeling of eyes on her. Like the fog itself is watching. In Portland, the Serpent Smoke Shop is tucked in a narrow alley, its sign barely visible through the mist. The windows are dark, but a faint light glows inside. Jessica pushes the door open, a bell jingling softly. The shop smells of tobacco and cedar, shelves lined with pipes and cigarette cases. A man behind the counter, tall, lean, with slick back hair and sharp eyes, looks up. Mrs. Fletcher, he says, his voice smooth as silk. I wondered when you'd find me. Jessica freezes. How does he know her? She plays it cool, mentioning the cigarettes, but the man Jasper Monroe smiles thinly. You're chasing a ghost, he says. Sherlock Holmes died a long time ago, but some ghosts don't stay buried. He slides a small box across the counter, engraved with a snake. Inside is another chess piece, a black king, marked SH, SHS. Mind races? Sherlock Holmes? Or something else? Before she can ask, Jasper leans closer. You're close, but not close enough. Check the journal. The code points to the docks. But be careful, ghosts have claws. Jessica leaves the shop, her head spinning. The docks? The journal's code? She's got work to do. But as she steps into the alley, a car engine roars nearby, headlights cutting through the fog. It speeds past, too fast to see the driver, but a cigarette butt is tossed from the window, gold band glinting as it hits the ground. Jessica picks it up, her hands steady, but her heart pounding. Someone's toying with her and they're close. She heads back to her car, determined to crack the journal's code and find the Serpent's Lair. But as she drives, a shadow moves in her rearview mirror. Not a car, not a person, just a shape in the fog. Whoever this Moriarty is, they're playing a dangerous game. Jessica's right in the middle. That's chapter 4, and the mystery's twisting tighter. Jessica's got a journal full of secrets, a name that might be Moriarty, and a shadowy. Figure one step ahead. What's at the docks? Can she crack the code? And is Jasper Monroe friend or foe? We're halfway through this wild ride, and chapter 5's going to turn up the heat with a discovery that'll shock you. If you're loving this, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss a single clue.
Comment
below, is Jasper Monroe the real Moriarty, or is he just another pawn? Drop your guesses, and let's keep this mystery alive. Jessica Fletcher grips the steering wheel, her eyes darting between the road and the rearview mirror, where the fog seems to twist into shapes that vanish when she looks too long. The journal from the mysterious package sits on the passenger. See its cryptic code taunting her. The words of Jasper Monroe, the slick owner of Serpent's Smoke, echo in her mind. Check the journal. The code points to the docks. The black king chess piece marked SH, now joining the JM queen in her bag, feels like a warning or a challenge. 3 gold-banded cigarette butts, the vial of blood, the 1891 letter about Sherlock's necessary death, are all pieces of a puzzle that's growing darker by the minute. Jessica's no stranger to danger, but this mystery feels like it's pulling her into a story she didn't write. one where the villain knows her next move before she does. Welcome back to Jessica Fletcher, the murder of Sherlock Holmes, where the fog hides secrets and the truth is just out of reach. We're halfway through our 10th tale, and the suspense is about to tighten its grip. Let's follow Jessica to the docks and see what's waiting. Ready? Here we go. The Portland docks are a maze of cranes and shipping containers, shrouded in a fog so thick it muffles the sound of waves lapping against the piers. Jessica parks her car at the edge of the waterfront, the journal open in her lap. The coded entries, numbers, symbols, and fragmented phrases look like nonsense at first. But Jessica's spent years crafting mysteries, and she knows a cipher when she sees one. One line keeps catching her eye. Pawn 2, e4, shadow moves. 2d5. It's chess notation mixed with strange references to the serpent's lair and the final gambit. She flips to the photograph tucked in the journal, the one showing men outside the Diogenes Club in 1891. The man with the gold-banded cigarette has a face she can't shake, sharp cheekbones. Eyes like a predator. Could he be the who? Sign the letter. Worse, the Moriarty the Diogenes League warned her about. Jessica's gut says the code will lead her to the serpent's lair. The docks are her best bet. She steps out into the damp air, the smell of salt and oil heavy. Around her, the docks are quiet, too quiet, with only the occasional creak of a ship's rigging breaking the silence. Her flashlight cuts through the fog, illuminating stacks of crates and rusted machinery. She clutches the journal, focusing on the code. The numbers seem to point to a specific Pier 17, if she's reading it right. As she moves deeper into the docks, her shoes squelch on wet pavement, and she can't shake the feeling she's being followed. The fog plays tricks, turning shadows into figures that disappear when she turns. Her hand brushes the chess pieces in her pocket, their weight grounding her. She's close to something big. She can feel it, but every step feels like walking into a trap. At Pier 17, Jessica finds a small warehouse, its windows boarded up, but a faint light seeping through the cracks. The door is locked, but there's a keypad with a snake emblem carved above it. Another clue. She opens the journal, scanning for anything that might be a code for the keypad. One entry stands out. 49-7, the Serpent's Gate opens. Her hands shake as she punches in the numbers. The lock clicks, and the door swings open with a groan. Inside the warehouse is a cavern of shadows, filled with crates stamped with the same coiled snake she saw on the cigarette bands. Her flashlight sweeps the room, landing on a table in the center. On it sits a single object, a chessboard, set up mid-game, with a note pinned under the Black King. It reads, "You're playing well, Mrs. Fletcher, but every move has a cost. Look behind you." Jessica's heart leaps into her throat. She spins around, flashlight raised, but the warehouse is empty, or so it seems. The shadows seem to shift, and a faint scrape echoes from the far corner. She forces herself to stay, calm, turning back to the chessboard. The pieces are arranged in a familiar pattern: pawn 2e4, countered by d5, just like the journal. But one piece stands out. A white knight knocked over with a tiny drop of red liquid pooling around it. Blood, or something staged to look like. Jessica's mind races. This is a message, a taunt from whoever's orchestrating this game. She picks up the note again, noticing a faint watermark, a map of the docks. With an X mark near Pier 19, her instincts scream to leave, to call for help. But Jessica's never been one to run from a mystery. She pockets the note and heads for Pier 19. The journal and chess pieces heavy in her bag, the fog grows thicker as she reaches Pier 19, where a small boat bobs against the dock, its name painted in peeling letters, Serpent's Lair. Her pulse quickens. This is it, the place Jasper Monroe hinted at. She steps onto the boat, its deck slick with mist. Inside the tiny cabin, she finds a locked metal box, engraved with a chessboard and the initials SH and JM intertwined. Her fingers trace the lock, a combination dial. The journal's code 4927 comes to mind, and she tries. The box clicks open, revealing a bundle of letters, all dated 1891, and a small, ornate key. The letters are written in the same spiky handwriting as the first note she received, each one signed M. One catches her eye, Sherlock's. Death was the first move. The game continues until the king falls. Her blood runs cold. This isn't just about a fictional detective, it's a real conspiracy, stretching back over a century. As Jessica reads, a low thud shakes the boat. She freezes, clutching the key. The cabin door slams shut and the lock clicks. Someone's trapped her. Her flashlight flickers, casting wild shadows, and she hears footsteps on the deck above. "Who's there?" she calls, her voice steady, despite the fear creeping in. No answer, but the footsteps stop, replaced by a soft, deliberate tapping like someone knocking a chess piece against the wood. Jessica bangs on the door, but it won't budge. She searches the cabin, finding a small hatch under a rug. Her only way out, she pries it open, crawling through a tight space that leads to the boat's hull. The air is damp, the walls slimy, but she emerges on the dock, gasping. The fog is so thick she can barely see, but a figure stands at the edge of the pier, a tall silhouette in a long coat, holding a cigarette with a gold band. Before she can call out, they vanish into the mist, leaving behind another cigarette butt and a single word scratched into the dock: check. Jessica's hands tremble as she picks up the cigarette butt, her mind spinning. The key from the box feels warm in her pocket, and the letters hint at a truth she's only starting to grasp. The Diogenes League, Jasper Monroe, the Serpents Lair, they're all connected, and Moriarty, whoever he is playing a game with her as the pawn. She needs to get back home, decode those letters, and figure out what the key unlocks before it's too late. As she hurries to her car, the fog seems to whisper her name again, and a chill runs down her spine. This isn't over, not by a long shot. That's chapter 5, and the game's getting deadlier. Jessica's trapped, escaped, and found new clues, but the shadow of Moriarty is closer than ever. What does the key unlock? What's in those letters? And who's the figure in the fog? With 5 chapters left, the twists are coming fast. Stick with us for chapter 6, where Jessica uncovers a secret that flips the mystery upside down. If you're gripped, and I know you are, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss a moment. Comment below. What's the key for? Is Moriarty one person or something bigger? Drop your theories, and let's keep unraveling this chilling tale together. Jessica Fletcher's car hums through the fog-soaked streets of Cabot Cove, whilst her knuckles white on the steering wheel as she speeds away from the docks. The small, ornate key from the Serpent's Lair boat burns a hole in her pocket, its purpose: a mystery that gnaws at her. The bundle of 1891 letters, the coded journal, the gold-banded cigarette butts, chess pieces marked JM and SH, the vial of blood are all stuffed in her bag, each clue a thread in a tangled web. The word check scratched into the dock, and the fleeting glimpse of that shadowy figure in the long coat haunt her. Whoever this Moriarty is, real or not, they're playing a deadly game, and Jessica's caught in the middle. She's escaped. A locked cabin, dodged a trap, and uncovered hints of a century-old conspiracy tied to Sherlock Holmes. But with every answer, more questions pile up. Welcome back to Jessica Fletcher, the murder of Sherlock Holmes, where the fog hides danger and the truth is a locked door. We're racing toward the end with only 4 chapters left, so let's see what Jessica's key unlocks. Ready? Let's dive in. Back at her cozy Cabot Cove home, Jessica locks the door and pulls the curtains, the fog pressing against the windows like an uninvited guest. She spreads the clues across her dining table, the lamplight casting long shadows. The letters from 1891 are her focus now, their spiky handwriting matching the note that started this whole mystery. She reads the top letter again. Sherlock's death was the first move. The game continues until the king falls. The words chill her, but it's the key that draws her eye. It's small brass, with intricate carvings of a snake coiled around. A chessboard, another link to the serpent symbols she's been finding. Jessica's sure it unlocks something critical, but what? The journal's coded entries mention a vault of truths hidden where the detective's shadow falls. Her mind flashes to the Diogenes League's mansion, those portraits of Sherlock, their eyes seeming to follow her. Could the vault be there? Jessica flips through the journal, her writer's instincts kicking in. The code is a mix of chess moves and cryptic phrases, but one entry stands out. Knight to b3. The vault awaits under the gaze of the first. The first what? The first Sherlock? The first clue? She thinks back to the mansion's foyer. The portrait of a stern man she assumed was Conan Doyle. But what if it was someone else, someone tied to the League's secrets? Jessica decides to return to the Diogenes League, but not before decoding more of the journal. She spends hours cross-referencing chess moves with the letters, noticing a pattern. The numbers 4, 9 to 7 keep appearing. Not just as the keypad code from the warehouse, but as coordinates in the journal. They point to a specific location in the mansion's basement. Her pulse quickens. The vault must be there, and the key will open it. But going back to the League means facing Dr. Elias Grayson and Clara Wren, who already warned her to stay away. Before leaving, Jessica calls her friend Seth Hazlitt, Cabot Cove's trusted doctor, for backup. "Seth, I need you to come with me to the Diogenes League," she says, keeping her voice calm but firm. "Bring your medical bag, just in case." Seth grumbles about the hour but agrees, sensing the urgency in her tone. They arrive at the mansion as the fog thickens, the building looming like a ghost in the mist. The door is unlocked. Denand. Jessica's skin prickles. She leads Seth to the foyer, where the portrait still hangs. Up close, she sees a plaque. The founder, 1891. Not Conan Doyle, but a man with sharp eyes and a gold-banded cigarette in his hand. The same face from the journal's photograph. Her heart races. This is no coincidence. She scans the portrait, noticing a faint seam in the wall behind it. Pushing the frame, she hears a click, and a hidden panel swings open, revealing a narrow staircase leading down. The basement is cold and damp, the air heavy with the smell of earth and old paper. Jessica's flashlight sweeps across stone walls, landing on a heavy iron door etched with a snake and chessboard. The key fits perfectly, turning with a satisfying click. Inside is a small vault, its shelves lined with dusty ledgers, photographs, and sealed envelopes. One ledger catches her eye, titled The Diogenes Pact. She opens it, her hands trembling. The pages detail a secret agreement from 1891, signed by M and others to protect the truth of Sherlock Holmes. It claims Holmes was a real detective, his identity hidden by Conan Doyle to shield him from enemies and enemies led by a real James Moriarty. The ledger mentions a final gambit to stage Holmes' death at Reichenbach Falls, ensuring his legacy lived on in secret. Jessica's mind reels. Was Sherlock real? And if so, who's continuing his fight now? As she reads, Seth coughs nervously, his flashlight darting around. "Jess, you hear that?" he whispers. A soft scraping sound echoes from the staircase. Someone's coming. Jessica grabs the ledger, and a sealed envelope marked the Shadow's name, stuffing them into her bag. She locks the vault and pulls Seth toward a side passage, her heart pounding. The scraping grows louder, and a shadow stretches across the wall, a tall figure in a long coat. Jessica's seen that silhouette before. At the docks in 2-1B, she whispers to Seth to stay quiet, and they slip into the passage, emerging in the mansion's backyard. The fog is thicker now, but Jessica spots another gold-banded cigarette. But on the ground, still warm. Her blood runs cold. Whoever's following her was here, maybe watching from the shadows. The envelope in her bag feels heavy, its secrets burning to be read. But she knows they're not safe yet. Back in her car, Jessica and Seth speed away, the fog swallowing the mansion behind them. Jessica's mind races. The ledger confirms the Diogenes League's claims, but it raises new questions. Who is M? Why stage Sherlock's death? Who's the shadow stalking her? The envelope might hold answers, but opening it now feels risky. She needs a safe place to think, to decode the rest of the journal, and figure out what the shadow's name means. As they drive, Seth glances nervously in the rearview mirror. "Jess, there's a car behind us," he says. "Been there since we left." Jessica's stomach twists. She tells Seth to take a side road, but the car follows, its headlights cutting through the fog like eyes. Someone's closing in, and Jessica's running out of moves. That's chapter 6, and the mystery is deeper than ever. Jessica's unlocked. A vault of secrets, but the shadow of Moriarty, or someone claiming his name, is right on her tail. What's in that envelope? It's following her? And how much of Sherlock's story is true? With 4 chapters left, the tension's about to explode. Stay tuned for chapter 7, where Jessica opens the envelope and faces a truth that changes everything. If you're hooked, and I know you are, smash that like button. Hit subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss a single twist. Comment below, is Sherlock Holmes really real, or is this all a clever trick? Drop your theories and let's keep this mystery rolling. Jessica Fletcher's heart pounds as she glances in the rearview mirror. The headlights of the car trailing them, cutting through the dense Cabot Cove fog like a predator's eyes. Beside her, Seth Hazlitt grips the dashboard, his usual calm replaced by a nervous frown. Sealed envelope marked the Shadow's name sits heavy in her bag, alongside the ledger from the Diogenes League's vault. The coded journal, the mysterious key, the chess pieces marked JM and SH, and the growing collection of gold-banded cigarette butts. The ledger's revelation that Sherlock Holmes might have been a real detective. His death staged to protect him from a real James Moriarty has turned Jessica's world upside down. But the car behind them is a more immediate threat. Its presence a reminder that someone's been watching her every move. Welcome back to Jessica Fletcher, the murder of Sherlock Holmes, where the fog hides danger and the truth is a double-edged sword. With only 3 chapters left, the game is reaching its endgame. Let's see what secrets Jessica uncovers next. Buckle up, this one's intense. Jessica tells Seth to take another turn, hoping to lose the car in the maze of Cabot Cove's back roads. The fog is so thick it's like driving through a cloud, but the headlights stay close, relentless. Jess, this ain't good, Seth mutters, his voice tight. Jessica nods, her mind racing. She's faced killers before, but this feels personal, like she's a pawn in someone's twisted chess game. She needs to open that envelope, but not here, not with a shadow on their tail. Head to the sheriff's station, she says. Oh, be safe there. Seth swerves onto a main road, and for a moment the headlights vanish. Jessica lets out a breath, but it's short-lived. As they pull into the station's lot, the car reappears, slowing as it passes, its tinted windows hiding. The driver, cigarette butt flicks out, glinting with a gold band before the car speeds off into the fog. Jessica's stomach twists. Another taunt. Inside the sheriff's station, the fluorescent lights feel harsh after the murky night. Sheriff Mort Metzger, Amos Tupper's replacement, looks up from his desk, surprised to see Jessica and Seth so late. Trouble follows you. Like a bad habit, Jess, he says, half joking. Jessica wastes no time, spreading her clues on a table. She tells Mort about the Diogenes League, the ledger's claims about a real Sherlock, and the car that followed them. Mort's skeptical but listens, his eyes narrowing at the cigarette butts. I'll run these for prints, he says, bagging them. But you're in deep, Jess. Stay here tonight. Jessica nods, but her focus is on the envelope. She needs to know what the Shadow's name means. With Seth and Mort watching, she carefully opens it, revealing a single sheet of paper written in the same spiky handwriting as the 1891 letters. It reads, "The Shadow is not one, but many. Moriarty lives in those who carry his will. Fine. The Knight's Gambit, or the game ends with you." Jessica's blood runs cold. Not one Moriarty, but many. A group carrying out his legacy.
Ow.
The note mentions the Knight's Gambit, a chess term that echoes the journal's code. She flips through the journal, finding an entry. Knight to C6. The gambit reveals the Shadow's face. It's paired with a sketch of a building a lighthouse, its base marked with a snake emblem. Jessica knows that lighthouse. On Cabot Cove's coast, a crumbling relic rarely visited. Could it be the Knight's Gambit? She shows the sketch to Mort, who frowns. That place is a death trap, Jess. Nobody goes there. But Jessica's instincts are screaming this. Is the next move? She convinces Mort to check it out at dawn when the fog might lift. Seth protests, but Jessica is determined. I'm not letting this Moriarty, or whoever they are, scare me off, she says back at her house. Under Mort's watchful eye, Jessica stays up decoding the journal. The entries point to the lighthouse as a meeting place for the shadows. Mentioned in the envelope, one line chills her. The blood seals the pact, as it did in 1891. The vial of blood in her bag suddenly feels heavier. Is it a symbol like the Diogenes League claimed, or something more sinister? She cross-references the ledger, finding a list of names from 1891 members of the original Diogenes Club. One name stands out. J. Monroe. Jasper Monroe, the tobacco shop owner, or an ancestor? The photograph from the journal shows the man with the gold-banded cigarette, and Jessica's sure he's the same J. Monroe. Her mind spins. Is Jasper part of this modern Moriarty Network? Or is he a pawn, like her? As dawn breaks, the fog thins just enough to see the lighthouse in the distance, its silhouette stark against the gray sky. Jessica, Mort, and Seth approach. Cautiously, the key from the vault clutched in her hand. The lighthouse door is locked, but the key fits, opening with a rusty groan. Inside, the air is damp, the spiral staircase coated in dust. At the top, they find a small room, its walls covered in faded maps and chess diagrams. A table holds a chessboard mid-game with a white knight moved to c6 the knight's gambit. Beside it is a photograph, recent this time showing Jasper, Monroe, and Clara Wren from the Diogenes League, standing with a third figure, a tall man in a long coat, his face obscured. Jessica's heart skips. It's the shadow she's seen before. A note pinned to the board reads, "The king is cornered. One move left." Under the table, she finds another vial of blood, identical to the first. Before she can process it, a loud crack echoes from below. Mort draws his gun, motioning for Jessica and Seth to stay back. Footsteps climb the stairs slow, deliberate. Jessica's pulse races as she pockets the photograph and note. The door bursts open, revealing Clara Wren, her eyes wild. "You shouldn't be here," she hisses. "You're upsetting the board." Mort steps forward, but Clara raises her hands, holding another chess piece, a black rook. "This isn't a game you can win," she says, tossing the piece at Jessica's feet. Before Mort can grab her, Clara bolts down the stairs, vanishing into the fog. Jessica picks up the rook, noticing it's marked DW. Her mind races Diogenes' witness, or something else. The lighthouse feels like a trap now, and Jessica knows they need to leave. As they hurry back to the car, Jessica's mind is on fire. Clara's involvement means the Diogenes League is deeper in this than she thought. The photograph ties her to Jasper and the mysterious figure. 2 vials of blood, 3 chess pieces, and a name in row that keeps resurfacing. Jessica's closer to the truth, but farther from safety. The fog swirls around them, and as they drive away, Seth spots headlights in the distance. They're being followed again. That's Chapter 7, and the board is set for a showdown. Jessica's got new clues, but Clara's warning and that shadowy figure are closing in. Who's DW? What's the knight's gambit hiding? And can Jessica stay one move ahead?
8.
With 3 chapters to go, the endgame's near. Stick around for Chapter 8, where a shocking betrayal flips the mystery. If you're hooked, and I know you are, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell to catch every twist. Comment below. Is Clara a villain or another pawn? What's the blood for? Drop your theories, and let's keep this mystery alive. The fog clings to Jessica Fletcher's car like a shroud as Sheriff Mort Metzger and Seth Hazlitt speed away from the lighthouse, the headlights of their pursuer flickering in the rearview mirror. Jessica's hands are steady, but her mind is a storm. The new chess piece, a black rook marked DW, sits heavy in her pocket, joining the JM Queen and SH King. The photograph tying Clara Wren, Jasper Monroe, and the mysterious long-coated figure, along with the second vial of blood and the note about the knight's gambit, are stuffed in her bag. The ledger's claims of a real Sherlock Holmes The 1891 letters hinting at a staged death, the journal's coded references to a Moriarty Network, have turned this mystery into a labyrinth. Clara's wild-eyed warning at the lighthouse? This isn't a game you can win, echoes in Jessica's ears. With only 2 chapters left, the endgame is near, and a betrayal is about to shake everything. Welcome back to Jessica Fletcher, the murder of Sherlock Holmes, where the fog hides a knife in the dark. Let's dive into the twists. Hold on tight. Jessica directs Mort to take a sharp turn onto a narrow road, hoping to lose the car trailing them. The fog is relentless, swallowing the world beyond a few feet, but the headlights stay close, like a hunter tracking prey. "Jess, this is getting too dangerous," Seth says, his voice tight with worry. Jessica nods, her eyes scanning the road. She's faced killers before, but this feels like a chess match with a mastermind who knows her moves. The note from the lighthouse mentioned the king being cornered, and Jessica can't shake the feeling she's the one in check. She needs a safe place to think, to unravel the clues before the shadow catches up. "Head to my house," she tells Mort. "We'll regroup there." Mort grumbles but complies, weaving through Cabot Cove's back roads until the headlights finally fade. Jessica's not fooled, they're still out there waiting. At her house, Jessica locks every door and window, the fog pressing against the glass like a living thing. She spreads her clues on the dining table: the ledger, the journal, the photograph, the chess pieces, the vials of blood, and the gold-banded cigarette butts. The envelope marked the shadow's name lies open, its cryptic message about a Moriarty not one, but many burning in her mind. She focuses on the new chess piece, the rook marked DW. Could it stand for Diogenes' witness, as she first thought? Or maybe someone's initials? She flips through the ledger, searching for names. One entry catches her eye. D. Wren, sworn to the pact, 1891. Wren like Clara Wren. Jessica's stomach twists. Is Clara a descendant of this D. Wren, tied to the original Diogenes Club? Or is she more involved than she's letting on? Jessica turns to the photograph from the lighthouse, studying the faces. Clara and Jasper Monroe stand close, their expressions guarded, but the third figure, the one in the long coat, has a face obscured by shadow. She notices something new, a faint tattoo on Jasper's wrist, a coiled snake. It matches the emblems she's seen everywhere: the cigarette bands, the journal, the lighthouse door. Jasper's more than a tobacco shop owner, she's sure of it. She opens the journal, focusing on the Knight's Gambit entry, C6. To the light, where the shadow falls. The lighthouse was C6, but the note implied more moves. She cross-references the ledger, finding a mention of a safe house in Cabot Cove, marked with a snake symbol in coordinates that match the old library downtown. Her pulse quickens. Could this be where the shadows meet? Before she can share her theory, the phone rings, shattering the silence. Mort answers, his face darkening. "It's Amos," he says, handing the phone to Jessica. Amos Tupper's voice is tense. "Jess, I dug into those cigarettes. The prints on M match a guy named Daniel Wren, Clara's brother. Scott's a record, Jess. Disappeared a year ago, but he's been spotted in town recently." Jessica's heart skips. Daniel Wren DW. The rook. Clara's brother. She thanks Amos and hangs up, her mind racing. Clara never mentioned a brother, and the Diogenes League didn't either. Is Daniel the figure in the long coat? And why betray his own sister? Jessica tells Mort and Seth about the safe house. "We need to check the library," she says. "At night." Mort protests it's late, and the fog's too thick, but Jessica's insistent. "This ends now," she says, grabbing her coat. The old Cabot Cove library is a hulking shadow in the fog, its windows dark except for a faint glow in the basement. Jessica, Mort, and Seth approach cautiously, the key from the vault in her hand. The front door's locked, but a side entrance has a keypad with a snake emblem. Jessica tries the code from the journal 4927 and the door clicks open. Inside, the library smells of dust and secrets, shelves looming like silent witnesses. They head to the basement, following the glow. At the bottom of the stairs, they find a hidden room, its walls covered in maps, chess diagrams, photographs of people, some from 1891, others recent, including Jessica's own face. Pinned with a red X, her blood runs cold. She's been a target all along. The room is set up like a war room with a chessboard at the center mid-game. A note beside it reads, "The rook falls. The king is next." Jessica's eyes land on a file labeled the Moriarty Network. She opens it, revealing names, dates, and plans a secret group continuing Moriarty's work, using the Diogenes League as a front. Clara's name is there, marked as operative, but Daniel Wren's is circled in red, labeled rogue. Before Jessica can read more, a shadow moves behind them. Mort spins, gun drawn, but it's Clara, her face pale. "You don't understand," she says, her voice shaking. "Daniel's out of control. He thinks he's Moriarty. We killed someone at 2-1B to start this game." Jessica's mind reels. The blood on the rug, it was real, but whose? Claire explains, her words tumbling out. Daniel, her brother, was obsessed with the Diogenes League's secrets, believing he was destined to be the new Moriarty. He stole the ledger, planted the clues, and lured Jessica into the game to expose the League. "He's here," Clara whispers. Glancing at the door, loud bang echoes upstairs, followed by footsteps, heavy, deliberate. Jessica grabs the file, but before they can move, the lights flicker out. In the dark, a voice hisses, "Checkmate, Mrs. Fletcher." A figure steps into the room, tall, in a long coat, a gold-banded cigarette glowing in his hand. It's Daniel Wren, his eyes wild with a dangerous glint. Mort raises his gun, but Daniel's faster, pulling a knife. "The game ends here," he says, stepping closer. That's Chapter 8, and the betrayal cuts deep. Clara's brother is the Shadow, but is he the real Moriarty, or just a pawn gone rogue? With Daniel closing in and only 2 chapters left, Jessica's running out of moves. What's in the file? Can she stop Daniel? Chapter 9's bringing a showdown you won't believe. If you're hooked, and I know you are, smash that like button. Hit subscribe and ring the bell to catch every heart-pounding moment. Comment below. Is Daniel the mastermind, or is someone else pulling the strings? Drop your theories, and let's race to the end of this mystery together. The basement of the old Cabot Cove library is pitch black, the air thick with tension as Daniel Wren steps closer, his knife glinting in the faint glow of his gold-banded cigarette. His eyes burn with a wild intensity, fixed on Jessica Fletcher, who stands frozen but defiant, her mind racing to find a way out. Sheriff Mort Metzger's gun is raised, but Daniel's too close, his movements unpredictable. Clara Wren, trembling beside Jessica, whispers, "He's lost it, Jessica." He thinks. He's Moriarty. The file labeled the Moriarty Network is clutched in Jessica's hands. Secrets, names, plans. A century-old conspiracy, her only leverage. The chessboard on the table, set for the night's gambit, mirrors the game there. All trapped in? Her bag holds the ledger, the coded journal, the key, 2 vials of blood, 3 chess pieces, JMSH and DW, and 4 cigarette butts. Each clue a step toward the truth. But with Daniel's knife inches away, time's running out. Welcome back to Jessica Fletcher, the murder of Sherlock Holmes, where the fog hides a killer and the endgame is here. With only 1 chapter left, every move counts. Let's see if Jessica can outwit the Shadow. Ready? Let's dive in. Daniel's voice is low, almost a growl. "You're good, Mrs. Fletcher, but not good enough. The board's set, and the king falls tonight." Jessica's heart pounds, but she keeps her voice steady, years of facing danger, sharpening her focus. "You're not Moriarty, Daniel," she says. "You're just a man playing a role. Who's really behind this?" Daniel's smile twists, and he flicks his cigarette to the floor, the gold band catching the dim light. "You think I'm a pawn?" he says. "I'm the one who brought you here. The blood at 2-1B, that was my opening move." Jessica's mind flashes to the blood on the rug reel, Clara said, from someone Daniel killed to start this twisted game. But whose blood? And why drag her into it? She glances at Mort, who's inching closer, his gun steady. Clara's shaking, her eyes darting between her brother and the door. Jessica tightens her grip on the file, her mind piecing together the clues. The ledger claimed Sherlock Holmes was real, his death staged in 1891 to escape a real James Moriarty. The Diogenes League protected that secret, but Daniel, obsessed with the League's history, stole their ledger and turned it into a game. The photograph from the lighthouse showing Daniel Clara, the mysterious long-coated figure, suggests someone else is involved. Jessica takes a risk. "You're not alone, Daniel," she says. "Who's the third person in the photo?" "Jasper Monroe." Daniel's eyes flicker, a crack in his confidence. "Jasper's a fool," he spits. "He thinks he's in charge, but he's just another piece on the board." Jessica's pulse quickens. "Jasper, the tobacco shop owner with the snake tattoo, is part of this but not the mastermind? Someone else is pulling the strings." Mort seizes the moment, stepping forward. "Drop the knife, Wren," he orders. Daniel laughs, a sharp, unhinged sound, and lunges at Jessica. She ducks, the file slipping from her hands as she stumbles against the chessboard. The pieces scatter, the DW rook clattering to the floor. Clara screams, grabbing Daniel's arm, but he shakes her off, the knife slashing the air. Mort tackles him, the two men crashing into a shelf of old books. Dust explodes, and Jessica scrambles to her feet, grabbing the file in her bag. "Run, Jess," Seth shouts, pulling her toward the stairs. But Jessica hesitates, her eyes on Clara, who's crumpled on the floor, sobbing. "He wasn't always like this," Clara says. "The League. They broke him." Jessica's torn. She needs answers, but Daniel's still a threat. Mort cuffs Daniel, who's panting, his knife now in Mort's hand. "You're done, Wren," Mort says, but Daniel's grin doesn't fade. "The game's not over," he hisses. "Check the file, Mrs. Fletcher. You'll see." Jessica's hands shake as she opens the file again, scanning the names of the Moriarty Network. Clara's listed as an operative. Daniel is rogue. But one name stands out: Elias Grayson, the Diogenes League's president, marked as the Shadow's voice. Jessica's blood runs cold. Grayson, with his cold eyes and cryptic warnings, isn't just protecting the League's secrets, he's leading the modern Moriarty Network. The photograph's third figure must be him. She shows the file to Mort, who curses under his breath. "We need to find Grayson," he says. Now, Jessica's mind races. The journal's final entry mentioned a final gambit at the place where the serpent began. The snake's symbols on the cigarettes, the key, the lighthouse point to a source. She remembers Jasper's shop, serpent smoke, and its alley location. Could it be the hub of this network? Clara, still shaken, speaks up. "Daniel was working with Grayson," she says. "They wanted to expose the League's secrets, but Daniel went too far. The blood. Right. It was a drifter. Someone Daniel killed to mimic Sherlock's death. Grayson told him to." Jessica's stomach churns. A real murder, staged to draw her in. But why? To test her. To silence her. She needs to confront Grayson, but first, they have to get out of the library, as Mort hauls Daniel upstairs. Jessica and Seth follow, the file and clues secure in her bag. The fog outside is thinner now, dawn breaking in streaks of gray. But as they step into the parking lot, a car engine roars nearby. Headlights flare, and a black sedan speeds toward them. Mort shoves Daniel into his cruiser and yells for Jessica and Seth to get down. The car swerves, missing them by inches, and a cigarette butt flies from the window, gold band glinting. Jessica's heart races. It's the same car that followed them before. The driver's face is hidden, but she's sure it's Grayson. It's not done with her. Mort radios for backup, but Jessica knows they can't wait. "We need to get to Serpent Smoke," she says. That's where this ends. They pile into Mort's cruiser, Daniel cuffed in the back, still muttering about the game. Jessica flips through the file, finding a map tucked inside, a layout of Serpent Smoke, with a hidden room marked the Serpent's Den. Journal's code confirms it, pawn 2A8. The den reveals all. Jessica's sure Grayson's there, waiting to make his final move. As they drive to Portland, the fog lifts slightly, but the tension doesn't. Seth glances at Jessica, worry etched on his face. "Jess, you're sure about this?" he asks. She nods, gripping the key from the vault. "I've got one move left," she says, "and I'm not losing." But as they near the alley, a shadow moves in the mist, a figure in a long coat, watching from a distance. That's Chapter 9, and the endgame's in sight. Grayson's the mastermind, Daniel's a killer, and Jessica's one step from the truth or a trap. What's in the serpent's den? Can she outsmart Grayson? With one chapter left, the final move is coming. If you're hooked, and I know you are, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell to catch the explosive finale. Comment below. Is Grayson the real Moriarty, or is there another twist? Drop your theories, and let's finish this mystery together. The fog in Portland's alleys is thinning as Jessica Fletcher, Sheriff Mort Metzger, and Seth Hazlitt speed towards Serpent Smoke, the tobacco shop that's been at the heart of this deadly game. In the back of Mort's cruiser, Daniel Wren sits cuffed, his wild grin faded, but his eyes still glinting with defiance. Jessica's bag holds the clues that have led her here. The 1891 letters claiming Sherlock Holmes was real, the coded journal, the key with its snake emblem, 2 vials of blood, 3 chess pieces marked JM, SH, and DW, 5 gold-banded cigarette butts, and the file exposing the Moriarty Network. The map she found points to a hidden room in the shop, the Serpent's Den where Dr. Elias Grayson, the Diogenes League's president and the network's mastermind, may be waiting. Clara Wren's confession revealed Daniel's murder of a drifter to mimic Sherlock's death, but Grayson orchestrated it all, using Jessica as a pawn to expose the League's secrets. With a shadowy figure still stalking her, Jessica knows this is the final move. Welcome to the last chapter of Jessica Fletcher, the murder of Sherlock Holmes, where the fog lifts and the truth comes at a cost. Let's see how Jessica plays checkmate. Ready? Here we go? The cruiser pulls into the alley behind Serpent Smoke, the shop's sign barely visible in the early morning light. The fog is lighter now, but the air feels heavy, charged with the weight of what's coming. Jessica clutches the key, its snake-hand chessboard carving biting into her palm. The map from the file shows a hidden entrance to the Serpent's Den, accessible through a back door marked with a snake emblem. Mort checks his gun, his face grim. "Jess, you sure about this?" he asks. Seth, pale but resolute, nods at her. "We're with you, Jess, but this feels like a trap." Jessica's heart races, but her resolve is ironclad. "Grayson's been playing me from the start," she says. "It ends here." She glances at Daniel, who's eerily silent, his eyes fixed on the shop. Is he expecting Grayson to save him? Or something worse? They approach the back door, the snake emblem gleaming faintly. The key fits, turning with a soft click. The door opens to a narrow hallway, the air thick with tobacco and something sharper, gunpowder maybe. Jessica's stomach twists. She leads the way, Mort close behind, Seth bringing up the rear. The hallway ends at a heavy steel door, a keypad beside it. The journal's code for 927 flashes in her mind, and she punches it in. The door groans open, revealing a dimly lit room that feels like stepping into a Sherlock Holmes story. The walls are lined with bookshelves, but instead of books, they hold files, photographs, and chessboards frozen mid-game. A single table sits in the center, a chess game set up with the black king cornered. A note beside it reads, "Checkmate, Mrs. Fletcher. The game ends where it began." Jessica's eyes scan the room, landing on a figure in the shadows, Dr. Elias Grayson, his tall frame draped in a long coat, a gold-banded cigarette in his hand. "You're persistent," he says, his voice smooth but cold. "I underestimated you." Jessica steps forward, the file in her hand. "You're the shadow's voice," she says. "The Moriarty Network hits yours. Why drag me into this? And why kill a man to stage Sherlock's death?" Grayson's smile is thin, dangerous. "The Diogenes League grew weak, hiding secrets instead of using them. Sherlock Holmes was real a detective who threatened my ancestors' empire. His death was staged, but the war never ended. I needed someone like you, Simon Clevered, to expose the League's lies and spark the next move." Jessica's mind reels. Grayson's ancestors, descendants of the real James Moriarty? The ledgers? Packed the blood. The chess pieces was all part of his plan to dismantle the League and rebuild his family's legacy. "Daniel was your pawn," she says, glancing at the cuffed man. For Grayson nods. He was useful until he wasn't. The blood at 2-to-1B, drifter, yes, but a necessary sacrifice to draw you in. "You're the detective I needed, Mrs. Fletcher." To prove the game's still alive, Mort steps forward, gun raised. "It's over, Grayson. You're under arrest." But Grayson laughs, flicking his cigarette to the floor. "Not yet," he says, pressing a button under the table. Loud click echoes, and the room shakes as a hidden panel slides open, revealing a cache of weapons and files labeled the Final Gambit. Jessica's heart pounds. Grayson's not just a mastermind. He's armed and desperate. She notices a chess piece on the Tabbola White Queen, unmarked. It's out of place, a clue he didn't expect her to find. She grabs it, her mind flashing to the journal's final entry. The queen moves freely, ending the game. She realizes it's not about chess, it's about her. She's the queen, the one who can stop him. As Grayson reaches for a gun, Jessica acts fast, tossing the chess piece at his hand. It distracts him just long enough for Mort to tackle him, the gun skidding across the floor. Seth grabs it, his hands shaking but steady enough to keep Grayson covered. Jessica opens the hidden panel wider, finding a ledger identical to the one from the vault, but updated with modern names: politicians, businessmen, even local figures, all part of the Moriarty Network. Daniel, still cuffed, laughs bitterly. "You think you've won? The network's bigger than him?" Jessica ignores him, flipping through the new ledger. It details plans to destabilize the Diogenes League's influence, using blackmail and staged crimes. Her name is there, marked as the catalyst. Grayson used her to flush out the League's weaknesses, but he didn't count on her solving the puzzle. She turns to him, now cuffed by Mort. "Who else is involved?" she demands. Grayson's eyes narrow. "You'll never know," he says. "The serpent has many heads." But Jessica's not done. She finds a sealed envelope in the panel, marked "The King's Fall." Inside is a list of names: Clara, Jasper, and others labeled expendable. Clara was a pawn too, used to manipulate Daniel. As Mort calls for backup, Jessica hears a noiseless soft scrape from the hallway. Her heart skips. Is there another? Shadow. She grabs the new ledger and the envelope, stuffing them into her bag. The room feels like it's closing in. The chessboards on the walls a reminder of the game she's been playing. Backup arrives, and Grayson and Daniel are taken away. But Jessica's not convinced it's over. The serpent's heads, Grayson said she thinks of Jasper Monroe, still out there, his snake tattoo a lingering question. As they leave the shop, the fog is nearly gone, the morning sun breaking through. But a cigarette butt lies in the alley, gold band glinting, fresh as if just dropped. Jessica's blood runs cold. Someone's still watching. Back home, Jessica sits at her table, the clues spread out. The ledgers, the journal, the chess pieces, they tell a story of a real Sherlock, a real Moriarty, and a war that never ended. I.C. writes a letter to the Diogenes League, warning them to clean house, and sends the evidence to Mort for safekeeping. The vials of blood tested by Seth confirmed the drifter's death, tying Daniel to the murder. But Jasper's gone, his shop empty when Mort checks. The Moriarty Network is wounded but not dead. Jessica looks out her window, the fog gone, but the chill remaining. She's won this game, but another may be starting. That's Chapter 10. The finale of Jessica Fletcher. The murder of Sherlock Holmes. Jessica stopped Grayson and Daniel, but the serpent's heads are still out there. Was Sherlock real? Is the network still alive? The mystery's solved, but the shadows linger. Thanks for joining this wild ride. If you loved it, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell for more thrilling stories. Comment below. Do you think Jasper is the next Moriarty? Should Jessica face another mystery? Drop your thoughts, share this video, and let's keep the suspense alive.